Hi everyone, my name is Shaun.
And I'm Leisha.
Today we wanted to speak to you guys about a question we get asked quite frequently, and that is what to expect from your first session, and what will we discuss, and what are the important themes to look out for, and what are the important bits and pieces that generally happen in a session. And today we want to give you guys some feedback on that.
Because I think it can be quite a challenging and intimidating thing to go to a therapist, especially if it's your first time, you don't know what to expect. So will hopefully make that a little bit more comfortable. So I think a good place to start is to just clarify that you don't have to have a specific problem to see a professional. Some people do have things that they struggle with, and they obviously might seek out a therapist for guidance and support and things through that. But for a lot of people, it is everyday challenges that arise that they need some support with, and it doesn't need to be, I think some people feel like it has to be such a big problem for them to approach a counsellor or psychologist for that, where in fact it can be everyday things that you struggle with that you just need a bit of guidance for.
No, at the end of the day, we are here to work with clinical cases, daily supportive cases, anything that we can be of aid with, we can work with, and we will obviously guide you through what we can do and what we can't do, and where you can go and find that, because not every therapist would necessarily be inclined to working with a specific condition or disorder, or prefer working with other bits and pieces. But ultimately there is someone out there that will be able to fit with what you have, and it can be as small as a daily issue, a breakup, or a clinical problem that someone might be struggling with. At the end of the day, choosing a therapist is vital for your first session. I believe that's one of the fundamental bits to starting a healthy journey with someone is when you do go to a session, being able to connect with that person is vital for the longevity of that relationship.
I think often clients feel that they have to connect with the first therapist they see, and if they don't, then there's something wrong with them, or they have to stick it out. And it is really like any other relationship that you would form. Some people you're going to connect with, and others you're not going to connect with, and that's okay. And I think to find a counsellor or a therapist that really suits your style. For example, if you're quite a straightforward person, you like someone to be direct, then you will have maybe a different need or need a different therapist, as opposed to someone that is extremely sort of sensitive and timid and needs someone to really take time to guide them through things. And that's okay. These are individual differences, and I think to then find someone that you genuinely feel comfortable with.
Absolutely, I think that is very important. One of the things that I personally would do with my clients is I would have their voice be heard in a session. The first session, I would try and identify the goals, what I can help them with, what can we try and achieve, why are you here in the first place. And through that, I also make it clear to them that by the end of the session, they need to be able to confidently say, or at best confidently say that maybe this won't work, or maybe it will. And if it won't work, what will help them? Then we can find a personality hopefully for them. But a lot of people, as Leisha mentioned, unfortunately stick it out. It's almost like they go see a therapist, and because they're there now, they feel too bad or too guilty to say, this is what I need, or I don't like that, or maybe we can try this, and they just go with it. And I've worked with people that will go through sessions after sessions, and they won't have the internal resources to voice their opinion. And this is a problem in therapy, because you need to have your voice heard. We need to understand where you are at in the process so that we can ultimately help you. It's not about going with the flow in therapy. It's not about being mean. Each therapist will have a thick skin. It's not about whether you're going to hurt the therapist's feelings or not. It's about getting the best treatment for you. This is not just one consultation that you go to, we patch it, and you leave. This is a continuous relationship that we have to build on, and we have to get it right from the start. Otherwise, it's not going to be beneficial to your overall mental health.
And it is your journey, and I think that with therapy, it's often important with that therapeutic relationship for trust to be built, which obviously comes over time. And that's why I think when you have someone that you have a level of connection with from the start, you can build on that and build a real connection and a trust with that person, because ultimately when you're in therapy, there's a lot of vulnerable things that are probably going to come out, and things that are difficult and maybe hold shame for you, or things that you've maybe never even said to loved ones. So this is your space and you need to feel comfortable with it, and over time that relationship is built so that you feel comfortable enough to speak about some of these things. And it is at the end of the day, because it's your process and this is your journey, I think trust is such an important sort of component of it. Also, I think if there is a lack of trust or a lack of feeling like you can really share and open up, it's almost going to also hinder the process and the outcomes of the therapy, because therapy is your space where you're allowed to go into these things that are really difficult to look at. And I think honesty is quite vital for sort of a solid foundation and a journey to your recovery or your well-being.
Absolutely. I think those are two of the more important concepts that we need to understand in therapy, honesty and trust. I think also for a lot of people seeking out a therapist, as we mentioned initially, they might think they need specific concrete reasons to go, the only big reasons or small enough reasons aren't good enough to go. And those are important concepts, but within this session, honesty and trust, if you have trust with your therapist and you have honesty between the two of you, it's a real powerful relationship that can really weather most storms. It can guide you through most overwhelming emotions that you face on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis, and can really lead to beautiful growth. However, another concept that comes with those other two is confidentiality. The need for your secrets to stay safe in that space is vital, and each therapist by law is required to keep everything safe, and this is a safe space for you. It should be. So everything that one brings to a session stays between you and the therapist. Ultimately, you might have a choice to tell people about your therapy and about your journey that you're opening up to loved ones around you potentially. That is up to you. That's absolutely fine. But whatever is discussed between yourself and the therapist stays in that room until you make a decision that anything is allowed to leave that room. Otherwise, we don't have a safe space.
Yeah, and I think for some people, that relationship, having a relationship built on honesty, built on sort of learning to trust that this person will actually hold the space for me, sometimes that's already a big part of their journey, is having this place just to unleash everything that they're feeling and knowing that there's no judgment that's going to be placed on that. And that's really valuable, because at the end of the day, we all need that space to just let off and have, I think, someone objective and someone that can just hold that for you is really such an important part of this. Yeah. And also I think it's important to note that therapy can last as long or as short as the client chooses. There's no sort of one size fits all model that's going to work for everyone. So some people may choose to see a therapist until a specific problem is resolved, and then they don't feel like they have the need for one. Where for other people, it's more an overall sort of constant process that they're going to go through. And for some people, they can have therapy for a lifetime. So it really, sort of how long it lasts also really depends on you, and also how often you want it. Some people have therapy every single day. Some people once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month. So it really is individualized, and it's according to your needs.
Absolutely, that's a very important concept that we need to understand as well, because I've worked with people where they come in for one session and they just want clarity on something, whether, is this that they're experiencing, is this normal, am I alone in this? Just some reassurance or some knowledge on a specific problem. You have people, as Leisha mentioned, that come back day after day or week after week, some specifically completing. Most people I work with come in for a specific reason, they work on that reason, and some of them leave and therapy is done, and others realize that, wait, there's more about me that I want to know, I want to work on, and then that was the vessel to start off the long-term therapy. Sometimes initial bursts can end up in long-term therapy or short-term therapy. There's absolutely no blueprint how it should be. It's all about what you need and reaching out and ultimately knowing that you're enough. If you have a problem, you feel something uncomfortable and you want to go see a therapist, absolutely fine. It doesn't have to be a weekly, monthly, yearly thing. It can last 2 weeks, it can last 2 years. It doesn't matter. It's all based on your needs that we try and help you with.
And just to sort of round off, I just want to reiterate that it doesn't mean that you have to have a specific problem to be able to seek counselling or therapy. For some people, it can really be beneficial, and I think a lot of us have sort of blind spots and maybe want to improve on our relationships or understand ourselves better, and therapy can assist with all of that. So I just think, I just want to mention again that it's not that there's something wrong with you or that you're weak, as you said, Shaun, or I think those are stereotypes, but I think there is a change, and that therapy could maybe benefit all of us.
Absolutely. I hope that gives you a better understanding of what to expect from your first session, and if you guys have any comments, please leave it down below and we'll get back to you as fast as we can. Thank you.
Thanks.